All right. We're going to consider how to draft this, and we're assuming this is a crop top, even though there are other forms in which you can modify this into, like maybe just tucking it into a trouser. Are we together? You can tuck that in, and then you have something that is a bit different, or it could be a crop top somehow. Then your navel will be like showing outside. Our major concentration is how to achieve the neck. Then the sleeves will be a bonus. So, using something that we're already familiar with is the drafting of a standard shirt. Shoulder level, bust level, top waist, normal waist, and then something just this level is something that we're going to be adding that would either help us fix a band there that will cause it to be a crop top, or we can make it longer at the end of the day. But the majority of the drafting is from here above. Are we together? Are we together? Now, to start with, let's consider the neck. These points on the neck. Okay? We can assume to use half the distance from the neck to this shoulder for this one. You can make it wider, that's the neck, or smaller, depending on your feet and belief. Are we following? Then the distance from these points now, this very point, we can make another assumption and use say half of a short sleeve. Normal sleeve range from 8 to 10 inch. We can just use say that 8 inch and divide it by 2, then we'll get 4 inch. I'm using half a scale, so I'm using 2 inch here. Are we following? Well, you can modify it to how much you want, but this is just the range. It can be between 4, 5, or even 6 inch. Are we together? Then you'll be able to you get this point. And if you come back to this, you will notice that even though it might not have been clearly illustrated here, there are pleats here. Each of these pleats are like quarter of an inch, and they're about 4. That will take us to how many inch? 1 inch if you multiply it by 4, or depending on the number of pleats you want, or how big you want the pleat. Or here I'll be adding let's say 2 inch for that pleat. Okay. Now, for this part, if you notice there's a slant on the sleeve, it's not like straight like normal sleeve. There's a slant here. A normal sleeve would have come this way, but there's a slant here. It means that from somehow around the sleeve area, which we're going to be determine, the under part of the sleeve is longer than the top part of the sleeve. Okay, so we're assuming that we could use the bust level for the sleeve, for the sleeve part of this. We're not cutting these out at the end of the day anyway. So if we're using the bust level, we can extend this line. And if you come back, this point is almost around the elbow. So we can measure the elbow, and I think in the morning when we did that, we got how many? 11. Sorry, 14. Half of that scale is 7. So this will bring us to this point. This is almost like the end of the paper. Are we together? So under normal circumstances, we were supposed to draw this first point. To this one, so that we can get, come back, this slant. But because of the pleat here, and we have increased it here, from here to this place, our new line, new usable line will be from here to this one. Then this point, from this point now you draw a suitable curve. And use freehand. That will come and meet the normal waistline. Or if you intend that it stops at the top waist, it's still fine, especially if you are going to be tucking in at the top waist. But come back to this, please. I missed something, I'm sorry, so let me readdress it. There's a design that we observe that this part where it's tucked in has pleats. Although this one has gathers. In the picture that we're going to show you, it has gathers. We need allowance for either pleating or gathering. Okay, so you can add like 50%, 50% of the person's top waist. $13 point something, divided by 2, you get 6 point something. So this place should be about here, because come back of the pleat or gathers that would be here. Okay, I'm using half of the scale of a normal measurement. So that's 6 you are seeing, 6 point something you are seeing there is actually 12. So this line originally is supposed to come here, and this one originally was supposed to come here. Forgive my excesses. Are we together? Then before I forget, this could come here. Okay? Okay? So in essence, this is what we want. Sorry. This is supposed to come straight. This is like the front of the neck, but we are not done with making the neck, because one factor that determines the curve is the fact that this neck is not curved like we used to curving it. So let's cut this out. We'll determine the remaining part of this cutting on the fabric. Now we have some small shortage. The back, hello, we are using this pattern to cut the front and the back. The back should be exact. So you cut the back, say this way. This way. This thing needs some small modification. I thought you just finished it. What's the problem? Did you take water after eating? Before we cut the front, let me see what I was supposed to see that I also left out. The size of this sleeve hole can be adjusted. You can increase this and then drop this so that this hole can be smaller. Like, you can use the whole of it, or you can cut this out. So you have just this part. Or you can keep dropping even onto this, so that it will go in line with this shoulder slant. It will still work, okay? Okay? But not so much that it will not give you some freedom of movement. So, so you need this notch, because that's where you're going to be joining the front to the back, and it's important you notch this because the front is going to be different. To cut the front, is the back that we just cut. Notice we cut this way. So to cut the front, now this is important. Follow closely because this is the key area. Other things were just bonuses. You look out for the bust level, or somewhere a little bit below the bust. If you want to have a better cowl, you can come like a bit below the bust, so that by the time you are tilting, only a few will be, only a few of the waist will be reducing if you tilt. Well, if you let's say we come up here now, above the bust, and we tilt, you see we have just small something here, but check what is getting out of this place. So if you want to have more effect of that neck, you can come down, so that if you have more here, you can just have less here. She's dizzy. She's giving me low current. So we tilt. Have you seen it? You can add. This place can be up to 3 inch without causing any trouble. I made mention of trouble. The trouble you would likely face is that if this part reduced too much, it would now start affecting the waist. So as much as you could reduce, you should not reduce below the size of the waist of the person. Are we together? Even though you might even really get there. So 3 should do. There are other ways you can get more of the cowl. This one will not really give you something cowly, but it will take us to the promised land. Okay? By just doing that, you are ready to cut. So this can just come straight. Supposed to add allowance for swing. And I must also say that this one now, you cut it here. If you want to know how much the cowl will drop on the neck, say you want it to drop to this point, you measure from here to here. That's what you should add here. Although it may not really drop to this point exactly, it will definitely be like a half inch or an inch, a bit above it. Okay, but the possibility of this dropping down is determined by how much you add here. So if you want it to come to this point, if this is 4 1/4, you should add 4 1/4 or more to this point. Are we following? She's sleeping. So I think that's what you should note. The notch here. This notch is going to be with this notch of the back. Notice nothing was added to the back. If you cut back and front the same, you're on your own, it will not work. Okay, it will just give you off shoulder or throwaway shoulder self. Any questions? Questions? Are you sure? Becky, question? All right. We've done it in practice, so you get. Maybe we'll show this one again. So we'll have midget size cowl neck crop top. There's not. You don't enter gym. No. You're still recording. All right. While you let me just explain this part. Another way to have a good cowl, a better cowl, is to you can draw a straight line or a curved line around the neck. Especially it must go below or exactly at the point where you want the cowl to get to. This is the bust, remember, so the bust stop should be around here. This one is already showing us your natural or artificial endowment. So we are simply going to cut this out. Then cut this as front. The back remains the same. We'll cut this as front on the fabric. Then this one now we'll do slash and spread, which should not affect this. It should not affect this line. It should be around here, here, here. At the end of the day, myself, the slash and spread will just look something that you can just cut like a triangle. And yeah, cut straight without even doing the slash and spread. We are not affecting this place, and you would notice that I have avoided these points because it's part of the shoulder. Avoid that please too. So if you spread this, hello, see, you spread it as much as you want. Then recut, cut. Remember, this part is uncut because it's like the continuation of the center piece of the body. So this place should be uncut. You cut it like this. This is the spreading. Are we together? So you can cut this way. Then this part this way. Oh, you have to add sewing allowance. Oh, sorry. So by the time you bring this back and join it here, you have this one now forming that curl. And I must say, if it's too much, it will not curl again, it will just fall. Do you understand? Eh? Do you understand? You are cutting this without tilting, then you do slash and spread on this portion. It can be straight to give you the same thing. Questions? Any questions? This video is smart, so you'll be getting it this evening. Thank you.